6 weeks. That's how long the Carney Liberals have been in office. And in that time, with all the bravado, all the promises, all the rhetoric in the House of Commons, not a single piece of legislation has been tabled to deal with the violent crime crisis that's gripping this country. Nothing on bail, nothing on repeat offenders, nothing on the soft on crime laws that continue to put the public at risk. Instead, Canadians are being fed more recycled liberal talking points about how they care about community safety, how they plan to strengthen sentencing, and how they're committed to reform. We heard it all again in the throne speech, but we all know talk is cheap. And Canadians are tired of words that go nowhere. The truth is simple. This government is continuing down the same sad, worn-out path that Justin Trudeau paved. A path of over-promising and under-delivering. They say they want to fix the bail system, but what have they actually done? Let's not forget, police, premiers, victim groups have been calling for real bail reform for more than 3 years. Chiefs of police have testified at committees, spoken at press conferences, and written directly to the federal government, pleading for action. And just recently, the Chief of Police in York Region once again sounded the alarm, saying enough is enough. He spoke for law enforcement right across this country when he said, the system is broken and it's putting lives at risk. And what was the Liberal response? A one-day summit, a roundtable, another photo op. And the result? Nothing changed. In fact, the Liberals doubled down on this failure. They brought in Bill C-48, a bill that was supposed to strengthen bail provisions for repeat violent offenders. Former Justice Minister Varani proudly defended this bill, indicating that more repeat violent offenders would be incarcerated. That was a lie. In fact, it didn't move the needle at all. Repeat violent offenders are still being released every day in this country. Bill C-48 did nothing to repeal the most dangerous part of the bail system, the principle of restraint embedded in Bill C-75. Let me be crystal clear. Bill C-75, passed by the Trudeau Liberals, tied the hands of judges and prosecutors. It told them that even repeat violent offenders should be released. It entrenched the principle of restraint, telling judges to release criminals at the earliest opportunity with the least onerous restrictions possible. The Liberals' so-called principle of restraint needs to be repealed, full stop. But that's not all. Under Bill C-5, this government also eliminated mandatory minimum sentences for serious violent crimes, including drive-by shootings, armed robbery, and trafficking in dangerous drugs like fentanyl. Think about that. Instead of cracking down on gangs and traffickers, the Liberals made it easier for violent criminals to get the proverbial slap on the wrist, or to walk free altogether. That legislation was a gift to repeat offenders, and it too must be repealed. Because this is what Canada looks like after the lost Liberal decade. Crime is through the roof. Auto theft up 45%. Violent gun crime up 116%. Hate crimes up 250%. And extortion, a staggering 357%. This is no longer just a big city problem. It's happening everywhere from coast to coast to coast. And Canadians are paying the price. We used to be known around the world for our safe streets, but after 10 years of Liberal recklessness, crime and chaos is far too common on our streets. And if you needed more proof that the Liberals aren't serious about justice reform, look no further than what just happened in committee. At the first and only meeting of the House of Commons Justice Committee before summer break, I brought forward a motion to discuss the urgent need to repeal the very soft on crime Liberal laws that have weakened our justice system and put communities across the country at risk. Because Canadians are fed up with repeat violent offenders walking free. Leaders of all stripes across the country are calling for action. But instead of debating solutions, sadly, the Liberals shut down the meeting after less than 30 minutes. No debate, no discussion. This is how little they care about fixing this crisis. Every day we leave C5 and the principle of restraint in C75 on the books. More criminals walk free. More lives are put at risk, and more communities are left wondering whether anyone in Ottawa is listening. The Carney Liberals know this, and yet they've done nothing. They had an opportunity to act decisively in the first full weeks of this Parliament. They could have sent a clear message to violent criminals, to law enforcement, and to victims that the era of soft on crime is over. But instead, they chose to do what Liberals always do: stall, distract, and protect the legacy of Justin Trudeau's failed policies. You know, Canadians deserve a justice system that puts public safety first. One that backs the men and women in uniform who risk their lives to keep us safe. Not a system that lets criminals back out before the arrest paperwork is even finished. It's time to get serious. It's time to repeal the principle of restraint in Bill C-75. It's time to restore mandatory minimum sentences and to repeal Bill C-5. And it's time for this government to stop playing politics with public safety. Because our police are doing their jobs, the least this government can do is stop standing in their way. Enough talk, enough summits, enough delay. Canadians want actions, and they deserve nothing less. So as Parliament breaks for the summer and MPs return to their constituencies, let me be perfectly clear. Conservatives won't be taking a break. I'll keep showing up over the summer, meeting with police chiefs, frontline officers, victims groups, and community leaders. And I'll keep pushing this government to act, holding them to account, and fighting for the justice and public safety Canadians deserve. Because the time is now. These issues can't wait.